Hello, I'm Mike Salata, and I'm here today with Rick Solomon, and we want to talk through a problem we see that's all too rampant in the profession, and that is, why are you working so many hours, and why is the practice so dependent upon you? And it's funny, we get this problem or this question often. Just the other day, I was talking to an accountant who said, Mike, my only growth opportunity and strategy is just to work more hours and have more clients. And he said, I don't have enough time, and I definitely don't have enough hours in the day to make that happen. What do I do? So, Rick, we often see this a lot. It's the only goal or the only strategy for many of these people to grow their practices or make more money is just to take on more work. And we see the struggle and the pain that they go through to get there. And it's kind of funny how there's a better model out there, but they're just not seeing it. And again, just over tradition and time, the only answer has been to either find a way to scale and leverage, and most people are trying to scale through more hours, more work, being at work longer rather than being at home and enjoying their life and the income that they're making. So what do you think, Rick? What have you been seeing?
Well, I'll tell you something really interesting. I'm a former practicing CPA, so I started my own firm a long time ago. And so the goal was to grow it, right? And I was very successful. I was fortunate and learned a lot about selling and marketing early on. So I had lots and lots of clients. I was working my butt off, working crazy hours, not spending time at home as tax seasons were insane, right? My wife is home with young babies and young kids. And I said, hey, honey, this is the way it is. And I accepted that as part of life. And of course, I wanted to grow and grow. And then I reached a point where I said, what am I doing? Because all this growth, yeah, of course I want to make more money and grow, but every new engagement, every new client was more work for me to do. And I hired people and I delegated to the degree I could, but a lot of it flowed through me. So at first I thought it was just me and okay, I don't really know much about running a practice intelligently. But over the years, as I became a practice growth advisor and coach to many firms in the profession, I see it's rampant out there. Most accountants I talk to are stuck in this trap where they are trading hours for dollars. And so the formula is, if I want to make more money, I've got to put in more hours. And okay, so the obvious solution is, well, let me hire people. So you hire people, but is the work really what you need it to be? Is the quality there? Are you comfortable with what's going out the door? So there's a woman we've been coaching who had built a very successful practice and had leverage, had quite a few people on her team, but she was now tied to the practice because she had to review everything. She had to make sure it was all really good getting out the door. So we're really working off this broken model where we're trading hours for dollars, although honestly, we call it hours, but I call it your life because your time is your life. And I was having a conversation with a woman who runs her own firm just 2 weeks ago. And she was practically in tears because she was making money. She was doing okay in the firm, but she has 3 young children and she hardly spends time with them. She pays somebody to take care of them. That was really hurting her. And we all know that's not time you get back, whether it's time with your family, with your spouse, with your partner, whatever it is you love to do in life. To me, that's a very, very high price to pay, whatever you're giving up personally, so you can make a few dollars more. And it's all because the model is broken. We're selling a service that's essentially considered to be a commodity by most of the market, which by definition means you're competing on price, even if you're charging a few dollars more and you've differentiated yourself a bit and you're getting, a little bit more for your services, you're still caught in that model. And as long as you stay devoted to that model or don't realize something else is possible, you're going to continue trading away your life for your hours. And it's a very hard trap to break away from, and the cost, the pain is pretty severe. And Mike, I'm sure you see people in situations, I know you do because you do a lot of the coaching here. You see this kind of stuff all the time. You see it playing out, and we're in this trap, and people don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and over the 20 plus years, we've seen it. And what you're saying is very true. It becomes a blind spot. It becomes like the only way we know how to do things. Often we talk to accounts, and I just talked to one just the other day who was saying, no, my work is my work, and my home life is fine. Everything's fine and great. But that's the blind spot, because when I asked him, how many hours do you put in at work? He's like, well, I'm not usually home for dinner, but if I'm home by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, in time to put my kids to bed, then I'm okay. In time to put my kids to bed, then I'm okay. And when we stepped back and looked at it, he said, oh my God, I'm missing out on so much time. The family dinners, the recitals, these sporting events. Life is passing you by while you're doing this old model. And again, trading hours, I agree with you, Rick, it's trading your life, because that's what we're doing.
We're trading our life. And one of the characteristics of being a human being, which is good in some ways, but not so good in other ways, is we're very adaptive creatures. So yeah, we can see the obvious benefits of that. We adapt to situations. But unfortunately, and this, it really personally pains me, we see so many accountants who look at their current situation and the lack of time and energy and freedom to live their life, and they've adjusted to it. They've adapted to it. They convince themselves that it's okay, because they don't want to live with the pain of the underlying truth that it's really not okay, that it's really not what they want. So it makes it livable, you know, it makes it digestible, which I guess is okay in a way, but the disadvantage of that is that you're putting up with a situation that you shouldn't be putting up with and you don't need to be putting up with. And it requires stepping back. I mean, there is a solution to this, and it requires stepping back and asking yourself, what else is possible? What other models are possible? Is there a way that I can earn more money because we want to grow and have a better life and work fewer hours? Is there a valid, proven way to do that? And there is a way to do that. And what it requires is rethinking our role in our relationship with our clients, and most importantly, getting clear about what our value is and what is it that we could bring to the business community, to business owners, that would be worthy of them paying us more money where we could put in fewer hours. And Mike, I know you do a lot of coaching in this area, and you really help accountants move in that direction. Maybe you want to just share a little bit about what that shift is, both in terms of thinking and behavior, that allows accountants to move in the direction of earning more and working fewer hours.
I think a big part of it is knowing what's possible. Again, breaking free of that model, this cell that we put ourselves into, right, where we have to trade hours for dollars, and stepping into being more of a value to those clients that you're working with. And I know a focus on business clients rather than just individual work. And there's nothing wrong with the individual work or the tax work. But let's make that the icing on the cake rather than the cake. So let's focus on ongoing work. Let's focus on those people that really need our help, that are begging and praying, right, for us to come through. And often those are those business owners, the small to medium business owners, even the large ones who are moving and growing and need that help and guidance to get to that summit that they're trying to climb to, that next level, as we call it often, right? So it's understanding that they're out there and separating ourselves from the free software out there, the bookkeeping, or the spouse that does the bookkeeping, and thinking we are competing with a much smaller crowd when really you guys are experts and authorities, and stepping into that role and ascending to the top so you can work with those people that want your help and do the work you enjoy. And on top of that, have the time and energy to do the work that you want to be doing and enjoy, and show up happy and excited because you're getting paid well for it, because you're making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on a really key point here, Mike, and that is that most business owners, and I'm talking about serious business owners that want to grow, want to take their business to the next level, they're struggling. And a lot of them are struggling in areas around the financial side of the business, an area that they don't know very well because their expertise is typically not in that area. You observe that every day as an accountant. So by understanding how to step into that role, it's a mindset shift, it's a behavioral shift to become that trusted advisor that can really help those business owners. Just the willingness to explore that and understand what that role is about, that leads to things like premium pricing and much more rewarding work, and the ability to drop off some of the less profitable, less enjoyable treadmill sort of compliance work. So the possibilities there, in terms of the market need, it's enormous. It's an unmet need. It's an incredible opportunity for any accountant that's willing to step up into a higher version of themselves, utilizing skills and experience and knowledge and wisdom that you already have. But it's about rethinking your role. And if this is something you are seriously interested in exploring or want to know more about, we would love to have a conversation with you. There's a link at the bottom of the page. You can click on that to schedule a call with one of us here, me or Mike or someone on the team. And let's have a serious conversation about it if you want to go in that direction. If you are, scared to explore it, or you're devoted to the status quo and no, I just have to keep doing what I'm doing, don't waste your time. Don't schedule a call, because there's nowhere to go. This is something that takes a determination. In the beginning, it's just a willingness to learn and to explore. So if you want to talk about what's possible, and most importantly, what does it actually take to get there, to make that happen, we would love to have a talk with you. We really would love to chat with you.
So do we want to end that? Is that the end?
Do you think that's, yeah, I think that tied it up. I didn't feel like we needed to go
No, I think,
on. I think we made the point, and there's so many other videos we'll be doing on so many other points.
yeah, that's why I was so
Yeah,
easy to.
I feel it's pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good. I think it's good. I think it's talking to where they're at and what they want to do, and gets their
Right?
taste buds going.
You want to just ad lib, take on another topic for the hell of it?
Yeah, or do you want to go deeper into some of the areas on this one to add? Either way, I don't care.
Yeah, whatever you think. I'm happy to go deeper. I don't want it to turn into a big editing project.
No, I think you're right. Though. I think we can have more videos because again, we can keep going back to the same 2018.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about the same thing from a lot of different perspectives.
Okay, what's a good topic? Where do you want to go?
What would be a good follow-up to this? What would be a question that might come up from an accountant after watching this?
So I was thinking this when you were talking, and I don't know what the question is, but I was thinking about transitioning into the funny part is how easy this is. You're already doing most of this.
Mm-hmm.
Something to that effect. Or the question is, how do I start doing it? What is a premium price? We could talk about, but that's not so much problem, agitate, solve. That's just all solution, right?
Yeah, so maybe the problem is not getting paid what you're worth.
Okay.
And clients don't see my value.
Yep, there you go.
We can just go with that.
Yep, just make a note. All right, so I'll do an intro on this one as well.
Yeah.
All right. Just give me a second.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
All right, when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Salata here again with Rick Solomon. And today we want to talk about a problem that's been a thorn in most of your sides for a very long time, and that's not getting paid what you're worth. And quite honestly, clients not really valuing for who you are and the work that you do. So I'm just going to step back and just jump right into it and say, hey guys, look, part of the issue is you. Clients aren't able to value you because you're not pricing your services accordingly. You're not really valuing yourself and the work and effort that you put into it. You're not arising to the authority and expert that you are. And because you're not doing so, the perceived value is always low. But you're an authority and you're an expert, and you need to step up and start charging the appropriate fees for the work that you do and who you are and the experiences that you have. And if you're not, we'll be talking about later in this video some ways that you can do so. So Rick, you've been doing this for a long time, and I know you coached a lot of clients through this. So what are your thoughts about not getting paid the value you're worth?
Well, here's what I'm saying, Mike. We accountants, for the most part, see ourselves as an interchangeable commodity. I'm an accountant. I can do taxes, financial reports, whatever services you provide. So can any other good CPA or non-CPA or even many bookkeepers. So because we see ourselves in that way and we're perceived that way in the market, there's a very strong commodity perception around what we do. I had a conversation with an accountant, I don't think it was more than a week ago, and he said something to me that it disturbed me. I hear it so many times, and it really hurts. And I was just, inquiring as to, tell me about the last client you picked up. What happened? And they said, well, I got a call from a referral source, and this client said they were looking for an accountant, and I asked why. And they said, well, I'm paying $400 a month. I think I'm really overpaying. Can you do it for less? And he said, yeah, I'm sure I can. Let's talk it through. And they talked it through, and he got the account for $350 a month. So the client saved $50. Good for the client. Now the accountant's got a new client at $350 a month, and it's just more of the same commodity type work. So if you want to know the answer, why is it that clients don't value us more and pay us more? It's because we don't value ourselves. And therefore, I hate to say this, but we're getting paid what we think we're worth. So if we want that to shift, we have to change our thinking and change our behavior and change our role with the clients. But until we make that change, the problem is we end up trading hours, or as I say, we trade our life away for dollars. And so if that's the formula, 1 hour equals X dollars, you want more dollars, you got to put in more hours. It's a broken formula. It doesn't get better. I know this because I lived it in my practice. I was practically killing myself because I wanted to make more money. And at some point I realized, what the heck am I doing? This is nuts. And then I hired people, and then you delegate work, and you think that's going to make it better. And to some degree it does. You've got other people doing work, but it's still an exchange of dollars for hours, and you still have to oversee and monitor and manage and all that. So it's a whole model that doesn't work. And because of it, I can't tell you how many accountants I talk to. There's a woman that Mike and I have been coaching for a while, and when we started working with her, she was practically in tears because tax season was killing her. Now, they had a year-round business practice, so I said, why are you so busy in tax season? She said, well, we do hundreds of personal returns, and it's really, it takes a huge amount of time. And I said, why are you doing all those returns? And she looked at me like, that's a dumb question. Well, because we want to make more money. And I said to her, well, if you were making enough money from your year-round business practice, let's assume for a moment that you were actually getting paid for the value and impact you were having on a client's business rather than your hours. And let's say you were making a really good living on your month-to-month income. Would you still have a personal tax practice? And without hesitation, she said no. She said, I might keep a handful of clients that are complex, lucrative, enjoyable, but the rest, no, they're such a nuisance. And since that time, I've asked many accountants the same question. I pretty much get the same answer. No, I do the tax season because I have to and I need the money. But would you if you didn't have to? Because when you have a tax practice, you're competing against H&R Block and TurboTax and everything else that's out there. Anyway, she saw the light and moved in the direction of being able to get paid for value versus hours. She broke that connection, started to really get paid what she was worth. 2 years later, I got she texted a photo to me, and it was March 13th. March 13th, we all know corporate deadline, March 15th, right? March 13th, she lives in California. She was in Phoenix with her son at a baseball tournament, smiling, relaxing. And she said, in the past, I never would have been able to do that. She had the freedom, and her tax seasons now are no different than the rest of the year for her. And she just likes to work until 3 o'clock, and then she goes home and lives her life with her kids. And she's making more money than she ever made. This is a common story. When we learn to break that connection between the dollars and the hours, when we get our thinking out of that compliance mentality, that treadmill thinking mentality, and realize that we have great value to bring to our clients as that trusted advisor, as that person who can read the tea leaves, understand the financial statements, and bring wisdom and experience and knowledge to clients as that advisor to help them improve their profits, to help them grow their business. These are skills and abilities that accountants have maybe you're 80 or 90% of the way there, and with a little bit of enhancement, a little bit more learning, a little bit of shifting your thinking and letting go of the old model that lives up here with the cobwebs, you can step into a world where you can be making a lot more money in a lot fewer hours and get off that treadmill and finally get paid what you're worth, which means giving you the freedom to live your life, not just to make more money, but to be able to step away from the practice and do all that. And Mike, you do an enormous amount of coaching, and I'm curious as to what you're seeing, what you're observing, and how you're noticing people making that sort of shift. Like, what are you seeing out there?
Well, yeah, before we do that, Rick, I just want to go back to something you said, because before that shift happens, and we've all seen it, we go to the conferences where we're around a lot of accountants, and there's this doom and gloom every time a new piece of software comes out. Tax software is now free. What am I going to do? And you see it and you hear from your peers. Everyone, teeth are chattering, we're biting our nails because we're afraid of that next free software that's going to take the compliance work away from us, that's going to let the individual do their own taxes, right? Whether it be the block store down the street, whether it be the free software, whether it be a third party. Now there's a number of third parties out there offering free tax returns as well. And every time that comes up, people freak out. Right? The doom and gloom, you can see the energy just zapped away from them because we've become so dependent upon this work that most of us aren't happy that's actually doing, don't really enjoy it, or don't have the time to enjoy it, even when we do enjoy doing that work because we're just so overworked. There's just so many hours. And when the busy season comes, everything else is bye-bye, because all we can do is put our nose to the grindstone, work, work, work. And when we're done working, we do some more work, right? And then our weekends and the late hours and, in between things that we're trying to do with our family. So yeah, when we don't make that shift, that's what's happening, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So I just want to.
I'm sorry to jump in, Mike, but I get excited about this stuff. But when you're talking about work, 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 I look at the mental justification that goes on, and what people say to themselves, and I used to say it to myself, man, I can't wait. When I retire, I'm going to travel. I'm going to get a freaking sailboat, and I'm going to sail the Caribbean for 6 months. And we have these dreams of what we're going to do one day, and that's insane. Because we need to be living life now. This is when life is happening, in this moment. We don't know about the future. And so we can't keep putting off the life we want to be living. We need to be living it now. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Mike, but.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm in complete agreement.
Yeah.
Living in that hell, right? It becomes hard to break free of. So that shift Rick was talking about is what you do. You make the shift. And for me, the first thing you do is stop associating yourself with that lower level. And there's nothing wrong with that lower level, but that's not you, right? If you're working with business clients, if you're doing the accounting for business clients, the bookkeeping for your business clients, even the tax work for your business, that's an expertise. You're an authority. You need to ascend above that level. You're not competing with free software out there. You're not competing with the block store down the street. Quite honestly, you're not competing with other people doing individual work. And it's really just owning that you're bigger and better than that, owning that there's other things you can be doing. And quite honestly, even bigger than that, own the fact that there's other things you want to do that can be very lucrative and that people want to work with you with. They want that value from you. They want you to step in. So that shift comes from separate yourself from the pack, start living into the work that you enjoy doing, and put an emphasis on those clients that really want your help. You all have a number of business clients sitting in your book of business right now that are pleading and begging and waiting for your help. I think one of the worst things, it's funny but not funny, that we often hear is, Mike, I write off a lot of coaching work for my clients. And that's work I could be doing myself. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just putting ourselves in a position. It's making time for those clients that are wanting our help and are paying us a high fee already in many cases. We just are so overrun with work that we're not able to give them the time, our time, that they really need.
Yeah, we're very busy serving our unprofitable, annoying clients that don't pay us, so we don't have the time and freedom to work with the better clients. And often, Mike and I have this conversation with accountants every day, and they say, well, where do I find these business owners that want more help and want to grow? And I say, well, where would you find kids that want lollipops? And the answer is, wherever you find kids, you're going to find kids who want lollipops. Wherever you find businesses, many of them are your own clients that would love to get more from you. We need to step into that role. The question we get a lot is, how do I do that? How do I become that advisor? What does it take? And here's what I want to tell you. What it takes to be that advisor: learnable skills, process. How do I communicate my value to the business owner so they can see me in that role and are willing to pay? Learnable skills and process. I'm going to tell you where the real work is. That stuff is work, but that's doable. Where the real work is, to step into this role, to be able to earn what you're really worth and break that connection with trading your hours or your life for dollars, it's a shift in thinking. And it's okay to have fears and doubts and all that. Can I really do that? That's fine. But it's the willingness in yourself to say, you know what I've got now sucks. Pardon my language. It doesn't work. I'm not living the life I want to be living. I know something better is possible. I know I'm worth more. I know I'm not getting paid for what I'm worth, and I want that to change. I want to do something different. So if you are serious about wanting to do something different, we would love to have a conversation with you. There's a link at the bottom of this page where you can click on it and schedule a call with one of us, with either me or someone on my team or Mike, and let's have that conversation. Let's talk about what it actually takes to make it happen if you're serious about it. If you're not serious about it, if you're fine with the status quo and you're just going to kind of try to keep pushing your model, that's fine. Don't waste your time on a call. No point in talking. But what I want to tell you is that it is very possible, and it is within your reach, to create a practice where you are paid exceedingly well for your value. And part of that means that you end up doing work that's more rewarding, You're no longer working with clients who are a pain in the neck, don't appreciate or value what you do, or don't pay you, or, you wake up in the morning and think, oh, I'm going to see, XYZ manufacturing, and you start getting a headache. All that stuff disappears. It's really incredible what can shift. But the big shift has to happen in here, and you have to be willing to just explore what is that possible, what does that look like, what's it going to take. And what you're going to find is it's not nearly as complicated as you think. It takes some work, it takes some doing, it's not magic, but it's available to anyone who wants it. We just have to be willing to step away from this is how it is and how it always has to be, and it's the reality, and I don't know what you guys are talking about. You have to step away from all that mental noise and say, let me explore what's possible. So we'd welcome the opportunity to speak with you if you're serious.
Cool.
Okay, I think that was good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good. Getting better and better.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. We have a meeting in 9 minutes with
Yep.
Mr. Matt. Okay, sir.
All right, cool. Thank you, sir.
Good work. Thank you. Always a pleasure.